So I wanted to start, if we could, with Israeli repatriation of pedophiles. So you and I both agree that this happens and it's abhorrent. Do you know that what the numbers are, roughly?
The last story I read was a CBS story. It was a couple dozen, I think.
I think total that I could find, I was being as charitable to your view as I could, it's about 200. That's a lot. It's a significant amount. But it's nothing in comparison to the Catholic Church. Nothing. Which is somewhere around 100,000 children, perhaps, or more. When we talk about this idea of pedophilia here in the United States, Owen, this is my big issue with this, is that
I think the 100,000 number comes from a span of like 2,000 years, though. That's the thing.
there's always a red herring, right? The red herring is, well, Israel repatriates pedophiles. It's like, yeah, that's true. So does the United States in a way, though. We have passport bros who they go to Malaysia, they have sex with underage kids, and then they come back here. It's the same exact principle applied. The only difference is there's no official right of return. There doesn't need to be. They're already U.S. citizens. But when we're talking about this, we know where the groups of pedophiles are. We've known this for years. The Catholic Church, for instance, again, part of one of the largest pedophilic scandals in the world. Which church do you belong to again? Is it Catholic?
I have no qualms with what you're saying about the Catholic Church, whether I identify as one or not. So go ahead. I will sit here all day as a confirmed Catholic and ridicule their pedophilia.
Yeah, I'm just saying that when you use the red herring of the Israeli repatriation...
How is it a red herring if it's true?
Because, the red herring happens when
Didn't you admit it's hundreds?
When you say, hey, wait a second. Yeah, hundreds.
So it's a real thing, so it's not a red herring.
No, the red herring portion of it is when you obfuscate away from the argument on the Epstein files, as though there's a global cabal of pedophiles. I point out in Iran, there's an open cabal of pedophiles. You say, well, Israel harbors pedophiles too. It's like, no, they don't have official policy for pedophilia, dude.
Hold on a second. You just admitted you're talking about people that have been actually charged with crimes of pedophilia that Israel knowingly takes in.
So they are very
well aware.
That's not in every instance.
So they are very well aware.
Sometimes it's suspected. One of the big key ones was an Australian case I'm sure you're familiar with. That was one of the big key ones, but it's not always the case that they're charged with anything. There, lots of them are just suspected of this.
There was just an IDF security official, Alexandrovich, who just got charged, caught in a bust, and he fled over there. He's gone.
Of course. But you're going to find...
give me a comparable story this year to the Catholic Church.
You can find the same thing.
Show me the Catholic Church. Show me the Catholic Church finding a pedophile and saying, come to the Catholic Church.
Okay.
They moved them to other churches. What are you talking about?
To
allow them to continue to offend hundreds of thousands of cases.
So show me one name.
I'm supposed to remember every name of every bishop?
I just gave you one name in the last year. Tom Alexandrovich,
IDF
security official,
that the Catholic Church doesn't move around pedophiles?
No, I just said they do. I can talk about the Catholic Church all day long.
Then why are you
But we're talking about the Trump administration dealing with the Epstein files. That's what we're talking about.
So as we're diving into the Epstein files, give me your biggest piece of proof that Donald Trump in any way knew about any pedophilia, and name actual names of people who you're willing to say are pedophiles in that administration. Go ahead.
Okay, I never made either one of those claims,
exactly.
But I will respond to your question. Yeah. Howard Lutnick lied when he said he hadn't been to the island since he found out. He got caught lying. He took his family there. This was after Epstein had already been a convicted pedophile. Now, if Donald Trump wants to claim he has plausible deniability as far as Epstein's activities are concerned, I suppose that's fair enough.
Are you even claiming that guy's a pedophile?
Well, you know what? If you want to talk about the things Trump has said about his daughter,
answer the question before
we can talk about it. We can talk about Donald Trump. Hold on a second.
Are you going to call that guy a pedophile?
Have I called Trump a pedophile once?
Well, this is why I'm getting clarification.
The answer is no.
The reason I'm getting clarification is because on the Epstein files, people refuse to separate mythology from fact, and there's a lot of mythology here. And this mythology that you guys continuously talk about, that Trump is in some way associated with this global cabal of satanic pedophiles, but you never name names, you never give evidence. Your only evidence is they don't give us evidence. Why would you trust the evidence that these people give you anyway? Why would you even trust that anyway? You don't trust them,
that's pretty
the
good.
evidence that they've given you so far. So why is it always the demand is like, I want endless evidence of a thing that we always make claims about, but can never demonstrate? Why?
So Trump is obviously maybe mentioned more than anyone else in the files. If you want to claim that he has nothing to show illegal in the files, that's fine. Howard Lutnick, however, lied when he said he hadn't been there. He is still in the Trump administration. He was just running point for their meeting at the Oval Office just last week. And he's in the files taking his kids to Epstein Island. So would you take your kids to Epstein Island?
Well, okay, so are you saying at the time
Okay, that was a pretty heated back and forth. I think both of them had some pretty damn good counterpoints to each other.
there was media scrutiny that this was a pedophilic
Okay.
island? He was
Yes,
supposed to know it?
100%.
He was
100%.
supposed to
Epstein
know
had
it?
already been charged. He'd already been in jail.
Are you saying this guy took his kids to the island to get them raped?
I don't know what he took his kids to the
Yeah,
island for.
you
He
don't
denied
know.
it. He
By the
denied
way,
it.
again, by the way,
He denied
this,
it.
This again
He
is
lied.
absence of evidence means that that's evidence. That's not evidence.
No,
you
no,
guys
no.
never will
Hold
actually
on.
name.
Did Howard Lutnick go to the island?
I'm not sure.
He admitted it. He's in the files.
Yeah,
he
I'm
took
not,
his kids.
I'm not sure on that particular, but it's irrelevant, the particular, because even if I grant the particular, you won't actually call the guy a pedo because you don't have evidence. You never have evidence, just claims. Claim, 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 no evidence for it. Now, I'm willing to cede a bunch of points to you. If you can show me some evidence of it, happy to do it.
So you-
Trump
wait,
was,
hold on.
hang on,
Are
hang
you
on, I'm almost
contending-
done.
are you
Trump was
contending-
actually right. He claimed that the Democrats were going to use the talking point that Trump's a pedophile, Trump's covering for pedophiles, the whole 9 yards. He says, yeah, that's a hoax. Whole thing's a damn hoax. And it is. The whole damn thing is a hoax. They've been calling this guy a pedophile. You just said he's named in the, how many times is he named in the Epstein files? That's a Democrat talking point. But what's he named in the Epstein files for actually doing? What?
Well, there are FBI investigations that have some pretty serious claims. They never
Not
manifested
credible.
anything.
They
That's fine.
literally
That's
say
fine.
not credible.
So we're not here to have a debate over the Epstein files. But
Well,
I
you're the one that brought it up.
find odd. No, you are the one that brought it up. But I do find it
No, that
odd.
was literally in Shroyer's opening statement. was the Epstein files that he wanted to get into that. Okay, so Shroyer, I think, Shroyer's backing off of that all of a sudden. Trump literally rattled Epstein out, and people still think he's a PDF. People are crazy. They can't handle the truth. Yeah, dude, for real. That was a good exchange right there. That was a good one. I like how Shroyer tries to pin it on Andrew, like Andrew brought up the Epstein files. Now, that was definitely Shroyer.
That you're going to pretend like Howard Lutnick didn't lie about going to the island after Epstein was
I'll
convicted
even
and took his
see
kids.
the point.
Are
Even
you
if
going
I
to tell
do
me?
see
Hold
the
on a
point,
second.
it doesn't help your
Are
point.
you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that Donald Trump was not friends with Jeffrey Epstein?
He was initially friends
Okay.
with Jeffrey
So-
Epstein,
so
but
he
he
is-
also
so he is-
also
But so
banned
was
him from
everybody
his
else in
properties.
Hollywood.
That's fine, and he might have helped bring him in.
Hang on,
too.
he banned him from his properties, and he was also front and center at pointing out to people that Epstein was a creep. That's one. And two, everything that's mentioned in the files, Michael Tracy has done great work on this. He's gone through them ad nauseum.
So
the
have I.
things which are put in there about Trump are ridiculous on their face.
Hold
And
on
the
a
claims
second.
from various people about Trump are noted inside of these files most of the time as being not credible at all.
Here's what's credible. Alex Acosta is the one that cut Jeffrey Epstein his sweetheart deal. It was so bad of a deal that they had to re-examine it and re-arrest Jeffrey Epstein and put him back in jail in New York City.
Which
where he
administration
ultimately-
did that happen
Where he
under?
was ultimately killed.
Yeah, which administration did that happen under?
The Trump administration.
That's right. He got
which is actually
rearrested
starting to
under the
look
Trump
a little more
administration.
suspicious. It's actually starting to look a little more.
Dude, yeah, that of course on its face seems ridiculous. Like, he did admit that he went to the island, right? But as far as like he would take his kids over there, and even if he did, look, remember we have a bunch of like flight logs of individuals going to the island. In fact, I believe Trump went over there on Epstein's island, so that's mentioned in the Epstein files. However, it was on his plane, and Trump had his wife and his kids there. Okay, so not just because you're on the flight log doesn't mean you kid diddled while you're over there, right? Does not mean that. There was plenty of people. Epstein was rubbing elbows with so many celebrities during the 80s and the 90s, etc. So if you're going to put that on Trump, you have to look at the other direction of Hollywood celebrities that were doing the same fucking thing. Not all of them are PDF files, etc., but we do need evidence on that. Then why aren't the files released if he was against him all along? Well, we've released more Epstein files under Trump than we ever did under any administration. My opinion on why these files are coming out a lot slower than usual is because there's a lot of names out there, and the internet is pretty brutal and quick to call a lot of these fuckers PDF files, right? So it's very sensitive information, but we'll see where it goes.
More suspicious now. Yeah.
How is that more suspicious? So
He
Acosta-
died in jail.
What
Yeah, that's
administration-
another one too. Dude, Alex Jones was talking about PDF Island for like 20 years before it went mainstream. I remember Alex Jones was being called a conspiracy theorist, a crazy guy, all this shit by left wingers and right wingers. Then it became mainstream media, became mainstream because now we got Epstein and everything like this, and all of a sudden Alex Jones isn't as crazy as we thought. You know?
How did he die in jail?
What administration did Acosta?
Trump's.
Was he in when he cut the deal?
He wasn't in office. Trump wasn't in office.
Yeah.
Acosta was an attorney.
Whose administration was that under?
Obama's.
Obama. So Obama, we have Acosta, goes ahead and gives him the sweetheart deal, right, under Obama. Under the Trump administration, they rearrest Jeffrey Epstein. Isn't that amazing? The guy protecting the pedophiles.
So the person that Trump brought into his administration is the one that cut Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal that no pedophile, child sex trafficker has ever seen before in their life. Such a sweetheart deal, they had to rearrest him again.
Yeah, they have seen it before in their life. First
So
of
look,
all,
whether
he
Trump-
wasn't even
What's
accused
up,
of
bro?
pedophilia. He
Better
was
late than
accused
never,
of
so I'll
localized
forgive you.
trafficking in Florida. And yes, people have been cut sweetheart deals for that. You're full of it.
Okay, so your stance is
what are you talking about?
So your stance is Epstein was not a pedophile and there's nothing in the Epstein files. Because I don't want to debate this the whole time.
I didn't say that. My stance is that there's bold claims which are made, and I can see you running from it. I don't blame you for running from the claim.
This isn't the
But you
debate.
can't-
I'm not
you don't
here
have
to, I mean,
evidence.
you're on a
Is it
losing
a failure
track.
of
This
Trump's
is
or not?
worse. Absolutely.
Well, then it's
Absolutely.
part of the debate.
There should be
There you go.
dozens of Epstein
It's
files.
part of the
They
debate.
are literally
Of who?
covering it up.
Tell me who.
Exactly. They've redacted the names. They've
Who
redacted the names.
should we be arresting? Exactly.
I'd love
What does
to
that
know.
mean?
Why are all the names redacted from the files?
Because
Why haven't they
I'll
given
tell
us
you.
all the files?
I'll actually tell you. And if you had done your due diligence, you would know this.
Oh, because they're victims.
No. Because victims advocacy groups and lawyers have tied this thing up like nobody's business. And again, Michael Tracy's done the
And no
research on
pedophiles
this.
go to jail.
Which pedophiles should go to jail?
The ones that they've redacted. So
What
did
are their
Epstein-
names?
So Epstein trafficked kids to no one.
No, Epstein was getting kids.
So Epstein-
Ghislaine was trafficking kids to him.
Okay, so Epstein raped all the kids. No one else did.
Name a single person he trafficked a kid to.
They're all redacted from the files. What are you
The
talking about?
files
You
don't
can
even
see-
indicate
You
that.
can
Who?
see in the emails. He says, "I have girls. How old do you want them? I have girls. I don't like yellow. I want Russian." That's all right there.
That's not him. There's nothing to do with pedophilia, as far as you know. Show me some evidence.
As far as you know, it does.
Wait a second.
Wait.
Absence of evidence is not evidence. Do you agree with that?
No, I'm using your logic against you. If you're saying
My
it
logic
doesn't
works
prove
for
anything,
me. And not
No, he's just switching the logic here. Like just because they're using code language doesn't necessarily mean it points to PDF. It could point to some other type of crime. We don't know that, right? But the PDF stuff is much more mainstream on the matter. But Andrew brings up a point. If you're going to make these types of claims, we don't want this lack of evidence as evidence for your claims of calling these individuals PDF files. 100% Jake on why the files aren't being released fast. Yeah, exactly, dude. They have to do it slower. They have to. And remember, dude, Trump has been the only president to actually release, probably around half of the Epstein files now at this point? Half? Compared to every president prior before that released nothing. Nothing. Zero. Zip. Right? And then liberals will come at us and say, well, Trump's not releasing the whole thing, therefore he's XYZ, or therefore the Republicans are trying to, save PDF files, right? They're trying to protect them. Fucking-diculous. He's the one that's releasing them. But yeah, you got to do it slower, bro. Like, this is fucking sensitive information.
not for you.
Okay, so I'll accept this because I don't want to debate. So Epstein was not a pedophile. He was not trafficking children, anybody. He was not friends with
I'm willing
Trump.
to see
They're
that
not
Trump-
covering up.
I'm willing
They're
to
not
see-
covering up the files.
I'm willing to see the distinction between the mythology of Epstein trafficking children to all of these various pedophiles is a mythology. I'm also willing to see that Epstein himself may very well have been a pedophile, but it seemed like the trafficking was going to him. And you have no proof to the alternative of that. And even when you point at Acosta,
So what is
this
Epstein
happens
doing?
under Obama, rearrested under Trump. Trump's the only one who released any Epstein files at all.
That's true.
Signed in the Epstein Transparency Act.
Yeah,
Congress also pushed for it.
after they redacted them for weeks, they still haven't
Because of
released
victims.
everything. They still haven't released everything, by the way.
How would Trump unredact them? Can you explain that to me?
Well, they shouldn't be redacted at all.
Yeah, but how would Trump unredact them?
Well, it's actually pretty easy. I think he calls them and says, "Hey,
No.
unredact these."
No,
names."
that's the judicial branch. That's a different branch of government.
And he can call them and tell
Trump's
them to do
allowed to
that.
do that with classified documents. Not allowed to do that with redactions. Those redactions are going through the judiciary. So what should Trump do here?
He can easily declassify. He can easily release everything.
They're not classified. They're redacted.
Then why aren't they released?
He did release them.
Not
he
all
released
of them.
millions of documents.
Not all of them.
And not only that, again, how would he get them unredacted? Tell me.
Not even all of them. They're
Tell
not
me
even
how
all
he would
released.
get them unredacted. How?
It's very simple. You bring out the investigators and you simply read the names.
To be honest, people were saying Shroyer won this exchange because I was on X earlier, and they were saying Shroyer dog walked Andrew Wilson. Now, as far as this first segment goes, Wilson's doing really well with the Epstein stuff.
That's all you got to do.
You mean like they did in front of a press club, and those poor guys who weren't actually pedophiles got calls and threats and everything else?
That happened to one guy.
Yeah,
that
but I mean,
one guy.
that's reading the names of people who aren't even related to it.
Okay,
And this is the problem,
So
man.
this is good. So you're satisfied with the Epstein files?
I didn't say satisfied, but I'm pointing out that I'm not willing to make claims that Donald Trump's
I agree
a
with you,
bad
bro.
guy
Yeah, she
based
fumbled
on
that shit in the
redactions.
very opening when she did, what was it? Phase 1 of the release of the Epstein files, and they got all these fucking right-wing shills to take pictures with it. That was horrible, and that was embarrassing, and that was hard to defend too on the internet. Okay, really fucking hard to defend. Yeah, Bondi was a bit of a clown. And Pam Bondi should be fired, to be honest.
That he's not responsible for.
Not for
You
that.
can't tell me
She's
how
bad
we
at her
should
fucking
unredact
job.
them. You can't tell me
It's
who
very
the,
simple. I
who
want
the
all the
victims are.
files.
You
Show
can't
me
tell me
all
any
the
of this.
files. What do you mean the victims go in front of Congress every freaking day?
I only want to jump in just because, given that we have only 40 minutes for the open dialogue, though it's been epic so far. I just want to be sure if there are other topics you want to cover. We have 28 minutes left.
I would
yeah.
say,
Can we
would
move on
say
to the economy?
The Epstein files is a debacle and a disaster for
The
President
releasing of the Epstein files was a debacle. I agree with that.
That was, the releasing
The problem
was bad.
is that what I'll never accept is lack of evidence being evidence of a thing. And while you pretend that there's a global pedophilic ring that you have no evidence of controlling the United States, I can show you a global pedophilic ring which exists right out in the open that Trump's blowing up right now.
So
Which they never even dived into that stuff. All of his picks were clowns. Yeah, I didn't like. At first, I thought Kash Patel was going to do pretty good as the head of the FBI. He's fumbled a lot of shit. Pan Bondi, yeah, a lot of them not very good picks from Trump. But I do believe that his second run as president is already better than his first run. So I'll give him credit there.
Yes, he worked with Ghislaine Maxwell. Yes, there were security cameras in his various places. All of that is correct. That's, again, asking
that's called
questions,
evidence.
not providing evidence.
So why does he do that for?
Wait, there's cameras here. What's that evidence
This is an
of?
event. This is a televised event.
Yeah, but what's that? What's the evidence of?
Who is Epstein televising what's going on in his room?
He
to?
wasn't televising anybody. Got any proof?
So why are there cameras installed?
Because the same reason rich people have cameras all over their houses?
So he has them in all of his bedroom seeker cameras?
What secret cameras? Can you show them?
Yeah, they're in the emails. He literally hired IDF security people to put secret cameras in all of his rooms.
No.
He had a damn security room with monitors in his mansions.
You're talking about one specific instance in one specific room, by the way, not in all of his properties and not in the Florida properties. And those are the ones where he got convicted of all these things. So what are you talking about? You're talking about a completely unrelated thing to what I'm asking you. Do you have evidence that Trump was part of a global pedophilic ring or that anybody was?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Give me your best piece.
The Epstein files.
Oh my God.
The Epstein files.
The whole freaking thing. What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Okay, so hold on. So was Epstein convicted?
Not of pedophilia.
Yes, he was.
Okay, who?
Was Maxwell convicted?
I'm sorry.
Was Maxwell
I'm
convicted?
sorry. When was Jeffrey Epstein convicted of pedophilia?
Epstein, jail. Maxwell,
When
jail.
was Epstein
Jean-Luc
convicted of
Brunel,
pedophilia?
jail.
When was
Two of them committed suicide
When was Epstein
in jail.
convicted of pedophilia?
I think whatever the first charge was in 2007 in Florida.
He wasn't convicted for pedophilia. That wasn't
Trafficking
pedophilia.
children isn't pedophilia.
First of all,
so now you're saying Epstein wasn't a pedophile?
He was doing underage. There was one or two of the underage prostitutes that came from the school. That's true. But
So
I think
that's underage?
I think they were 16, 17, not prepubescent children. It's a whole different ball game. He wasn't convicted of pedophilia.
Okay. So Epstein wasn't a pedophile. Glad we got there.
I didn't say Epstein
might
wasn't a
be an
pedophile. I said you haven't given us any proof he is. Got some?
Yeah, there's no proof Epstein wasn't a pedophile.
I'm
guys.
going to
No
use an
proof.
argument from
He killed
incredulity.
himself in jail.
I
Nothing
wanna
to
jump
see
in.
here, and
No,
we
I
should
do
probably
want to-
pardon Maxwell
I'm
too. at this rate.
totally
wanna jump
incredulous,
in.
but I have no evidence of my claims.
Just because the economy is another topic we might want to cover still while we have time. We do still have about 25
Yeah,
minutes.
it was the trafficking
Anyway,
of
so
underage.
I try to operate off a facts basis. What happened, I'll just sum this up real quick, and then I'll give you the last word on it.
That's the thing with Shroyer. Like when he was debating Destiny, he kind of did the same thing. Oh, no, like the lack of evidence would be the evidence at hand. That's why like Shroyer, yeah, when he usually gets into these types of debates where he has to provide and proof for his claims, not very good at doing that. He's not. He's similar, and I'll even give the same criticism for Alex Jones, because I saw Alex Jones even debate Destiny. Destiny's beaten Alex Jones in a debate. I'm sorry to say that, but he has. He absolutely mopped the floor with Alex Jones. And I wouldn't say he mopped the floor with Shroyer, but he did beat Shroyer in their exchange a few years back. Like, it's just that Jones and Shroyer rely a lot on, like, conspiracy theory type of, I guess Andrew would describe lack of evidence as evidence. So, yeah, got to raise an eyebrow for that. However, there were more charges that were coming up. Epstein, of course, deleted himself. Leave it that way. Andrew's totally taking Michael Tracy's angle, which is the smart move for this debate. Yeah, I think that's where he did a lot of his debate prep. Is Michael Tracy?
Fair.
I'll
just summarize it very quickly on Epstein. Epstein very well could have been a pedophile and likely was himself a pedophile. But when you make these claims about demonic global pedophile rings which control the United States, yeah, I want some fucking evidence. I do. And I'm not willing to throw the President of the United States that I voted for under the bus without any evidence. I'm not. So, if you want to tie it off, you can.
Well, I'll just say we also saw in the Democrat emails spirit cookings and children in the hot tub for entertainment. But there's no evidence of pedophile rings or anything.
You're talking about
I'm sure none of it
Podesta
happens.
spirit cooking?
I'm sure none of it
The
happens.
big art project
That's right,
spirit cooking?
Podesta, that's right.
Yes, Leon Podesta, who was part of a
I hate to
massive
push
art
this
project
into-
for spirit cooking, along with, how about we talk about Rocket Pizza? Did they have babies underneath there, Owen? Did they have children in the
good-
basement, Owen?
Good opportunity to go into the economy.
Yeah.
I don't think Andrew wanted to
So-
drop that fucking debate because, yeah, he did really well. Andrew wins that first round for sure. Yeah, Andrew won that one. I got to give it to Andrew for that one. He did a really good job, and he did his homework. He did take the Michael Tracy angle. He did a really good job on Owen there. Yeah, first round goes to Andrew Wilson there.